All right, we want to welcome everybody to the officially second podcast of Artache Financial. We've got some great guests here. I want to remind you that you can check out the podcast currently on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We're working on some of the others in Apple. But don't forget, you can also go on the YouTube channel, Artache Financial Group. I have also a Facebook page. I'm on LinkedIn. And today, folks, this is a topic that everyone's talking about, or at least thinking about it, and that is cryptocurrencies. You know, if you haven't heard about it, you must be living in a cave, because
absolutely
everybody has been. But the thing is that most people, as you know, I'm a fiduciary and a financial planner. I don't know much about it. I'm conservative by nature. My clients ask me about it, and it's important to know. I always say that because it is new, it's not a bad idea if you take maybe 5% of your holdings, if it's something that you're willing to lose, to try and make a 50-fold. And my guests today are going to explain what you need or should know about cryptocurrency, the beginning, some of the intricacies involved with it. To my side here, a good friend of mine, Mr. Chuck Johnson.
Good to be here, Danny.
And I just met him. He's a great guy too. And his mentor, folks, is Dr. Ben Carson. We have Delroy Brown here on my side here.
Thanks for having
so,
me.
guys, yeah, Bitcoin. Geez, this started back in what, 08, 09? And
Yep.
Did it start because of the crash that we had in the market? Is that why it came about?
Yeah, it did actually. A gentleman by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto actually founded Bitcoin with a few developers.
It could be a noun, actually, though. We don't know.
Yeah, correct. It could be. But yeah, the reason behind it was because of the crash. You know, basically their idea was, why do we need an intermediary for me to do a transaction? Why can't we just go to each other for that and have it be a trusted?
Decentralized.
Exactly.
So in other words, it was invented to avoid the banks.
Yeah.
Take them out of the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, how many, there's about 4,000 coins out there, right?
Yes.
Different ones, correct.
Yes, about 4,000 or more different.
I
coins
mean,
out there.
the thing is, when people want to get interested, do they just Google the information?
Well, I mean, right now, fortunately, cryptocurrency in general has grown. So you have different exchanges out there like Coinbase, crypto.com. So they're putting out a lot of ads, and so people are finding them. But yes, you can just Google and figure out and start learning about it. But the best place to get in, if you want to just jump in with 2 feet, is just download Coinbase or crypto.com.
Well, see, here's the thing. For what I do, I'm licensed. I've had many years of experience. I'm going to guess that in the future, we're going to have professionals like me in this field, because clients, they see the fact that, my God, Bitcoin started out in 09 at what? 10 cents?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
10 cents,
I've
yes.
seen it go as high as 65,000.
Excess of 60.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
6
I
or
mean,
7.
even as little as 2019, it was what, at $3,500
Yes.
for a coin?
Yes.
And today, it's somewhere around what, 46,000?
46, 7, 8, probably between
Yeah.
47
I mean,
and 8.
of course, people, like, here's the thing, though. It's very volatile, right? You have to have the stomach for it, because it went from 65,000
Yes.
down to where it is now. But the biggest move happened from 2019 to now.
Yes.
So the velocity of the cryptocurrency market is accelerating, such that now we have like $2.8 trillion in total capitalization, and that is going to go exponential. Okay, whereas it's not going to just be a linear equation, because the adoption. Remember on the first show we were talking about adoption?
Yeah, my radio show, yes.
Oh yes, we're talking about every money center bank, every New York stock exchange company, every Wall Street trading desk.
Yeah.
Okay, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars in building trading desks for this new asset class, folks. This is a new asset class.
Yes, and if I can add something onto what Chuck's saying
Please,
here,
yeah.
just to give a little bit context of how exciting and new crypto is. If you look at what you just cited, $2.8 trillion is the total market cap of crypto. But if you're looking at the stock market, Apple itself is 2.9 trillion, just one stock. So in terms of growth, the growth potential is just out of the roof for cryptocurrency.
Now, here's what's funny. On my radio show, Chuck told me, Denny, because I said, oh my God, Chuck, Bitcoin's at 65,000. Come on, how high? He goes, it could go 100,000 more. Chuck, you really think that we're like at the early stages of when Apple came out, Microsoft?
Yes,
you really believe there's that much upside potential?
Absolutely, and a whole lot more. Because here, and I say this only because,
folks, I don't want you to mortgage your house to buy this. Okay.
By the way, we are not giving any
financial advice.
Yes,
sharing our thoughts.
Now, here's the thing. It's really interesting because you don't have currently.
Yeah.
There are no brokers that make money for giving this kind of advice.
Correct.
So people are either watching people like Mark Cuban, wealthy people that are promoting these things.
Yes.
And that's the most difficult part for me because, look, whatever you buy, you have to research it, right, guys?
Yes, absolutely.
You have to see what their platform is, and you have to know what their model is. How do
Your
you do that?
technology. You're not buying something on a whim, something you heard. You have to look into what technology that the platform has. What is their use case? What is their utility? These are the things that create value. There are some early stage coins and tokens that I'm involved in personally that have contracts with the government, patents. They have a very, very strong use case, and this is where the value is. This gives you a better chance of compounding in a major way.
But why is there not more people that perhaps could charge a fee for? I mean, I don't know. Just to start Googling things and you're putting your retirement money in there, I don't think that's a great idea.
That'll come with regulation, Denny.
That'll
come with regulation.
Cryptocurrencies is anti-regulation, isn't it?
To be honest with you, when cryptocurrency is founded, I consider myself obviously an integral part of the community of cryptocurrency. Decentralization is the name of the game for us. We don't want centralization because if you look at cryptocurrency in terms of errors and mistakes and hacking and stuff like that, since 2009 when Bitcoin was launched to today where we have over 4,000 different tokens, there's been absolutely zero fraud within the blockchain, right? Now you compare that to the traditional model of centralized banks and all these stuff. We have a ton of fraud all over the place. But
so when you say blockchain, what does that mean so my listeners can understand? Because I'm not even up to speed on all the terminology. What does a blockchain mean?
So a blockchain is, if you think about, I'll simplify it as best as I can. If you think about a spreadsheet or just an Excel form with all your numbers, that's essentially what we consider a block, right? So I have one of these Excel sheets. You have one. Chuck has one. And as a transaction happens, we have a consensus amongst us that, hey, you actually have enough money to spend on what you're trying to spend, so you don't double spend and all these things. And if your block is off, then mine, Chuck's block, will actually go ahead and correct yours. So that's the consensus, and that's all within a chain. So that's what we call it, the blockchain.
I'm still fuzzy, guys. If you don't have enough money, how can you buy it? I mean, you're buying this from these exchanges, correct? And then when you buy it, you have to settle and pay for it the same day. Do you not?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so obviously, if you don't have the money, you can't buy it.
No, what I was speaking about is a double spend issue.
Okay.
Be able to double spend. Blockchain protects against that. Be able to double spend. So not only can't you not double spend, but you can actually run a consensus to make sure you have the right amount of funds so you can actually purchase what you're looking for.
So what are the main sites that people can go, like what are the exchanges that they can go to find out about, the different cryptocurrencies?
Binance,
Coinbase.
Coinbase.
Those are the better.
Now, here's a funny thing, because I'm quoted in publications. I've been on Yahoo News, Vice, Epoch News, and whenever they ask me my opinion, and clients ask me this, say, "Hey, what do you know, or what should I do, and how much should I put into?" And again, I say, put into what you can afford to lose, and take it from there. If you can try and get a 50-fold on it. But the thing is, they asked me, do you think this is a fad? And I say, no. And I'll tell you why.
Future money.
Because remember, I know so very little compared to you guys. The reason I know it's not a fad is banks are now set up
Yes.
to house this, aren't they?
Their permission to hold custody of
Of
cryptocurrencies.
cryptocurrencies.
And they're also currently
Okay.
they're also permission to trade in cryptocurrencies.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so they want to be in this space. All right.
Talk into,
wanna
so they know.
They want to be in the digital space. And you're going to see, and when I go to retail banking outlets, I say,
Okay.
"Hey, Dad, do you know when it's coming?" And they look at me like, "What?"
Well, I saw a car dealership promoting and said you could buy the car in Bitcoin. So that means, folks, it's not going anywhere. Now, they also have ETFs, but you're telling me it's not a true ETF.
No,
It's a
it's
sort of
roundabout
an
way.
indirect one.
Indirect
Yes,
one.
correct.
Okay. You think they'll have full-on ETFs on this?
We think
Of
they will.
course they will,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of time. I think what the regulatory authorities are doing is making sure that they get it right the first time. It's
Okay.
too big not to get it right the
Okay.
first time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's going to take a little time, folks. I used to have a projection on it, but it's going to take some time.
So, Chuck, you had a gentleman out west who had a business, poop business, you said, right?
Yes.
So you told him to buy, I think was it Bitcoin that you told him to buy?
He had some I don't know, $30,000.
$30,000. So
And I was riding with him in the car looking at a property of his one day, and he said, "Hey, what would you do if you had, if you're
30,000,
if you're
yes.
going to put 30,000 into something?" I said, "Well, I mean, I'd buy Bitcoin." Believe it or not, he did it. And the next day he called me and said, "Hey, I have a wallet with $30,000. And I go, "Wow, congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you because it's going to turn out good for you." Well, when his wallet turned from 30,000 into 50, he calls me, and then when it turned into 100, he calls me, and on up to 150, 200. Then it went to 350. He couldn't wait to take me to a steakhouse. I said, "No, you don't have to now because it's going to continue to go up." So,
Exactly.
So, Deborah, you said earlier in one of our discussions that this has created more millionaires
Yes.
in the last, few years
Yes,
than
then-
of anything else that you've ever seen.
Correct. I mean, right now you have crypto, certain currencies are going up anywhere from 100 to 300 to 800% in a 24-hour period.
I
this is
just
common.
can't imagine that.
Agree. And it's
But
and it's,
look, they can go down just as easily.
Oh, absolutely. They can crash.
This is what folks need to understand.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, look, if you're going to roll the dice or you're in a gambling mood, make sure it's an amount that you can lose.
Yeah, you can lose. And let me say this: before you ever dive into crypto, you need to make sure that you look at the team that's behind the token, look at what they're trying to do, make sure that they're visible, you know who they are, they put themselves out there. These are certain things that you need to make sure that are as part of the coin that you're trying to invest in, because if not, what's called a rug pull can happen very easily, where you get into it, you put your money in, and a couple weeks later the guy's take it and just go with it.
Well, that's the biggest look. Think about it. I make a joke. When Chuck was on my radio show, I said, Chuck, people don't want to put in their money, and all of a sudden, Vinny Boombots just closes shop and he goes somewhere else. So I would think that would be the first thing that I would be scared of.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I just put, I don't know, 10,000 into this, and now it's worth nothing.
Yeah. But then this goes back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
How can the crypto and how can regulations facilitate for a chartered crypto investor? So when people actually have, portfolio money that they want to place, they can come to someone that have the knowledge that can actually help them do this.
But they're not doing that as of yet.
Not yet, but
I
we need to
think
get
that's
into-
where more people, because right now, guys, there's so, the unknown. And they even have commercials. I think Matt Damon had a commercial where he was showing the bold are always reward. I forget the exact, saying that they have. And it's true. But, every dollar, well, I say this, every dollar matters, but I think the reason people are really interested in this is inflation is beyond out of control.
absolutely.
They say it's around 7%, but guys, I got to tell you, I don't believe it's just at 7%. I mean, if you look at it, automobiles are up 30%. Coffee's up, I think, 50%. Gasoline, the
groceries.
Let's. This is not a political discussion, but the simple fact of the matter is, the cost of goods in my opinion, is way higher than 7%.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of people are interested in this because they're concerned about the value of the dollar, whether the dollar is going to, crash to. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist and all that. I know that, Chuck, we've had discussions where you think this is what's going on is.
Well, the thing in real terms.
In real terms,
realistically, is think about this for one moment. You could have $1 million in a bank account. That's
Yes.
a significant amount of money.
Significant.
A year later, if you did nothing, you could come back and it would be worth, in my opinion, about $900,000. Okay. Now, cryptocurrencies, you have to be very careful. You have to do your homework. You have to study the use case.
Yes.
All the things that we've already mentioned. But I think if you're smart about it, take your time and vet it out and pick the right ones.
Sure.
There's a very good chance that these coins in value are going the direct opposite direction than our fiat currency here in the United States.
Yeah. And this is just the very beginning of crypto. I mean, as we cited earlier, when we start talking, the overall volume or the market cap of crypto is so small compared to the stock market. I mean,
And it's growing exponentially.
Yeah, and there's a tons of really good projects out there that's coming that people can get involved in on the ground floor, and I mean, overnight you get those.
But I
crazy
think, like I
percentage
said, the
gains.
challenging part is to can you get reputable information? I mean, I've got to tell you guys, I don't believe a lot of what I'm reading on the internet anymore. We have to. Consumers want to know, how can you really find out about these companies? Are they just being promoted by someone who here's the other thing. These coins, they're not owned by certain market makers, are they?
What they're owned by are whales, we call them.
Whales,
They're
okay.
all big financial
So in other words, they've
positions,
bought large positions in
large positions.
100,
So how is that any
125
different
million?
from
And
the
other
old?
question becomes: are those more than one whale? Could they
Manipulate the market.
Absolutely.
collusion?
Yeah, there's actually ways around that now in terms of, we call it tokenomics, how you can actually, when you create your tokens, you actually protect against this. One of the ways that they do it is, so you create a token, you want 100 million tokens. What you do is initially you get rid of half of it. You create 100 million, and what's called is burn. You burn 50% of that. So therefore now you can't have somebody controlling 50% the supply. And the other 50%, what they do is they do various things with it so that you can actually prevent these whales from coming in and controlling the entirety of the supply and dumping it on the rest of the
So
investors.
you're telling me that you can own the coins and then delete them so that no one else can buy or manipulate the prices?
Yes, it's called burning.
But aren't you manipulating the prices by doing that?
No, not this is when you mint the
No,
coin
you're
initially.
protecting your community.
Yes,
when you
you're
do that.
protecting
I
your
see.
community when
Okay.
you're doing that. Yeah, because when you create the coin as a creator, if I was to create a coin today, we'll create one just talking about it, right?
Okay.
100 trillion tokens. I'll burn 50 trillion of those tokens. 10% of the 50 trillion tokens I now give to the founders to be, rolled towards them, some vesting period or whatnot. And the rest is backed by, say, $100,000 in cash. So now as the trading happens and goes forward, there's less likelihood that you have somebody come in and control the entirety of the supply. And
Well,
this-
you're talking about if you're the original person
Yes.
who came up with the coin.
yes, and this is what you look
So-
for when you're buying coins too.
Well, just
by
like
the way.
the
Like
stock
that they do
market.
this.
Who came up with the original coin? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, you want to make sure you figure out who the
Who
developers
came
are.
with
Yes.
the rich?
You want to look at the white paper.
yes.
But
You
the
wanna
thing
look at
is,
how it's
look,
coded?
when it comes to stocks, you have regulations, you have the SEC, you have
Yes.
FINRA. There's
They
a
still
lot
get
of
manipulated.
regulators.
They still get
Yes, they do.
manipulated by the news.
Of course they do. Well, no, they're manipulated because, as you just described, someone can come in
Yes.
and buy a big block of the shares, and if there are no other shares to be printed or manufactured, they can manipulate the price and see what happens. So, how is this any different? That's my whole point.
Cryptocurrencies, keep in mind, the whole market, the whole thing is relatively new, but there are some things in place. Not only what I just talked about, but you need to make sure your developers are doxed. Meaning, they don't have to be the guys actually writing the code, but the CEO, the CFO, everybody. Their faces out there, you know who they are. They've made themselves known. Also, there's
But
something
how do
called
Very
people
important.
and
They
how do
have to
people
make
see
themselves
that?
known.
hold on. There's something else called a CERTIC audit.
Okay.
You want to make sure that their code is audited and that their company is audited and everything checks out. So you as a new crypto investor, you want to make sure that they're doxed.
So
and
how
make sure that
how do you
they're audited.
How can you see whether they're audited and it's done correctly?
Go to their website. It should be right on there.
To their website.
Yes, or you can go to Certic.com.
Certic.com.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
can actually search for that token, and it'll come up and tell you, hey, were they audited? Were they not audited? What was the results? Correct. Yeah.
So Chuck, and Delroy, I really appreciate you telling this straight information to people, because a lot of people interested in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
For this simple fact of inflation, uncertainty, and the fact that yes, they're cutting up banking systems and things like that. I mean, do you guys think this is what the world is ultimately going to go to?
I think this is what the world wants.
Here's where we are.
We're in the infancy,
in my
you think?
opinion.
Yes.
I would say we're in the early stages. I don't know about infancy, but early stages.
Okay.
I would say we're in. Take the internet. We're 1994.
Yeah.
Oh, for the internet,
Yeah.
yes. Well,
1994. Okay,
Minus the bubble.
now, if you think
if that's the case, then my $1,000 is going to make me as rich as Bill Gates in the next 10 years.
well,
if I
you
invested
think
in
you
it right
missed
now.
out, you have missed out on some other things, but there's so much more to come.
Well, that's the thing. Look, everyone knows Bitcoin. The other one was Ethereum. That's another
Yes.
very popular coin.
Yes.
But besides those two, it looks like so many of them are like trickling into 0.000. I mean, you invest in these coins and go, oh my God, if
it's
I
still-
put
it's
1,000
still-
or two into this,
It's
and
still incremental gains as long as the
Yeah.
capitalization is
Yeah.
there, and as long as the trading volume to get out
the
is
capital,
there.
yes.
Okay, trading volume. That's what will save you on some of these.
So what would you
micros.
say a minimum trading volume, if people listening to this say, well, I'm thinking about buying this coin, what would you say the minimum trading volume should be before they even consider getting into it?
For me personally,
Yeah.
minimum trading volume is between 50 to 100 million.
and above?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
On good
minimum.
ones
for
you're
me.
going to see. You're going
Yeah.
to see 200, 300 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you look at something like Shiba Inu, that's a token that's out there.
Yeah.
That's fairly popular. I mean, they call it. It started itself as a Dogecoin killer, right? And it actually.
I've heard of
surpassed-
Dogecoin. What happened? Where's Dogecoin at?
It's still
gone?
there.
The
It's still
dogs are
there.
resting.
Yeah, it's still there.
Now,
but
see, that one got crushed, right?
no, it didn't.
No.
It's still viable. It's still
Okay.
there, right? But the thing with Shiba is right now, I think Shiba's volume at one point, at least when I was watching, Shiba volume was $20 billion within 24-hour period.
20 billion. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
I'm sure. When Shiba was pumping on its highs, but right now I think it's between 2 and 3 billion.
How do you
I
keep
have to
up
put
with
this in
that?
perspective for you.
Yeah, please do.
We're now living,
And for my listeners,
okay,
because
we're now living in a exponential world. We are very quickly getting out of the linear
Yes.
stage of our evolution. Let's
Okay.
say. So this is the future of money. This is how it's going to be. Now, here's something that I'm going to share with you that might make it make sense. Also, is that when this development, takes its course, and when it becomes regulated, the curves are going to flatten out. There's not going to be as
There'll
much
be
volatility.
right.
Me, I'm a big fan of volatility
Yeah.
because there's money in it. There's money in volatility, and I'm willing to take calculated risk, intelligent risk.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm doing pretty good,
Yeah.
and I expect to do a whole lot
Yeah.
better.
I mean,
Don't invest
Delroy
your
was
lunch money.
describing that. You guys, look, I tell people, equities market. It used to be for the longest time. If you go back 80 years in the S&P, and it showed 10 and 12% returns. But I really believe more historical returns are somewhere between 6 and 8%. Net of fees. If we go back to 2000, that's a round number. The S&P, which is the broadest market, is somewhere around 5.3%.
Yeah.
I tell you guys that, and you're like,
No, it's
"Oh
not
my
worth it."
God, why would I? I'm not going to spend
I
invest
don't-
my money."
Boy, that's a
You
slow
want to
roll.
make you tried to tell me in the one discussion we had that people are making 200% and 300%
Yeah.
in a year.
Yeah. Easy
Easy.
in crypto market.
But folks, you can probably lose 200,
Yeah.
300% easily.
Yeah, you have to make sure you pick right.
So that's why, like I say, I think, I guess it's a good thing, right? Anyone who's thinking they're going to mortgage their house and put it all in Bitcoin.
There's
No,
no
they shouldn't.
overnight easy way to make money.
But
in this world. Let's
but
face
if they're
facts.
going to put a couple of thousand or $1,000 and then that goes up 300%, or they lose it all, that might be worth the risk.
Agreed. You know, I remember reading a story about Mark Cuban, right? He was trading Forex, I think it was, and I think he still has a record for the most money made on a Forex trade, like $1 billion or something like that.
He made $1 billion on it. And how much did he invest, though?
I'm not sure, but in crypto, Sheeb, about a year ago, this guy invested $5,000.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he walked away with $5 billion.
Oh, come on.
No, sir.
I think this is a typo, folks.
No.
Have you been drinking cough syrup?
No, not at all.
5,000
Yeah.
and in one day was worth
No, not $1 billion. Not one day. Not one day. Over the course. He was an early
over the
investor.
course of
his
how
investment.
long?
I think it was a year and a half.
So his 5,000 was worth $5 billion
Yes.
in a year.
If you pick a superstar in the early stages,
Yes.
okay, and hodl it and just hold on, okay.
Well, you said that you're so sorry that you didn't buy Luna. Because Luna was
Very
trading,
sorry.
what was it, a year ago that he told you?
Ago,
And what
yes.
was it trading at?
0.04. Now I think it's like $37.
Yeah,
Folks,
$37.
0.04, not even a penny, right? And it's worth $37. What the heck do they do?
Yeah.
Do they fly people to the moon? For free?
What it would seem so, right?
Let me give you another example. I was offered by some very young guys back in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Okay. They said, "Hey, Chuck." I was in a completely different business. I was in a regular business, and they said, "Hey, we'd like you to buy some Bitcoin." And I said, "Guys, I mean, cool.
That's when it was what, 20 cents?
No, 10 cents.
10 cents.
So I'm like, "Guys, cool, but like, what's that?" They
Yeah.
said, "Well, it's digital currency." I said, "Okay, where is it?" They said, "Well, it's just digital." And I started getting lost.
We're so used to
I said,
bricks and
where
mortar.
Where can I?
Yes.
If I can't
where can I
touch
put
it, eat it.
I wanted to touch it. I said, "Where can I put it?"
Yeah.
You're going to have a wallet. Oh, I'm going to have a wallet. Okay.
Well, what
good.
is Bitcoin?
It's
What did he
physical.
do?
Yeah.
What
It's
is
a
Bitcoin?
digital.
It's just
So-
digital.
so-
It's
so-
literally bits.
Now, if I would have bought Bitcoin at 10 or 15 cents,
Yes.
Ugh.
okay, or even
Man.
20 cents, okay, where would I be today? Well,
You wouldn't be here, Chuck.
yes, I would.
No, I don't think so.
No, I love this stuff. I really do. I really love it.
I know. Listen, you two both have a passion, and that's why I'm saying that somebody should figure out, because I'm going to bet that there's a lot of people out there that would like to throw some money in it,
Absolutely.
but they don't have the time, the inclination.
Yes.
That's why one of the reasons I wanted you on the show is to maybe give them some advice on how to find out about this. I'm not in the game as of yet. My clients ask me about it, and I tell them what I've just said. Research it. Don't put more than you can. You can afford
my
to lose.
advice really, and I sympathize with everybody out there that wants to be involved in this space. It's really not an easy path, because
It can't be.
instead of watching TV or at night, or going to the beach with your friends on weekends, you're going to be at home studying this stuff. This is what I do, and Delroy does it too.
Every
And
day.
Everybody I know that's been successful in crypto.
But they study it how? You just Google
YouTube,
all the
you can go
YouTube.
just anything.
Okay.
You know, I was uncertain about taxation not so long ago, and I said, "There's only one way to find out. It's just do the work."
Yeah.
Right. Do the
Yeah,
YouTube
You
videos.
literally,
and-
YouTube videos, read the bill itself if you can get your hands on it. But here's something that I do that helps me with my picks, right? I always take a look at, different YouTube videos from time to time, figure out what they're talking
Hey,
about.
we're going to be
That's
on
fine.
YouTube. I'm hoping that many
Indeed.
listeners and followers, folks, come to Artache Financial Group, will watch this video because you guys are giving good advice.
Yeah.
So finish what you're saying.
So what I like to do is I like to look at the market sentiment. So you find a token that you like. What you need to do is figure out who owns it. You need to check out their Twitter page. You need to check out their Instagram, their Facebook, their YouTube.
Okay.
And you need to watch them. Not only watch what they're saying, but watch what other people are saying, because that's the most key thing. If the
But
sentiments around the
what if
token
it's
is bad, it's
promotions?
going to be bad.
I know in the old days, people used to get jived and suckered into stock promoters. They would be saying, "Oh, this is the next Apple, and you need to buy it." People would buy it, and they would dump their shares.
Yes.
How could this could be the same thing?
It goes back to what I was saying earlier. You
Yeah.
need to make sure that the developers are doxed. You know who they are.
Okay.
You need to make sure you look at their white paper, like Chuck said, and look what the utility of the coin is. Is it a good business
What is white
plan?
paper? What is that?
It is the genesis of that
Yeah.
coin.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a watered down business plan,
So
if you will.
you look up white paper on the internet.
You can
on particular
investigate the
company.
code.
Yeah.
Some guys If you're very smart, if you're in that business,
Sure.
you can look at the code and go, something's not right with that.
What, like the Matrix? I don't know anything about a code.
It's called smart contracts, right?
Smart contracts.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of these tokens have they're associated with what's called smart contract. That basically tells you what happens if you do this, that type of situation. You can look at that and see, hey, is it what they're saying it is, and see who's behind it, what's their experience, and this type of stuff, and just like you evaluate another company.
It's so interesting.
It's esoteric.
Yeah,
I guess so, because when I look at it from I guess again, I'm a conservative guy by nature. I
think it's what we all are.
I don't like to lose my clients a dime, a dollar. You're reading about this, and I've yet to see a viable business model. Not that I've researched a lot of it. Like I just asked you, what does Bitcoin do? Oh, they're a digital currency. Well, okay, what does that mean? That means
when you
if
see Mark Cuban and Kevin
Yes.
O'Leary and Paul Tudor Jones. Paul Tudor Jones is huge. Let me give you another big name, because you're in the you're in the
Sure.
retirement planning business. Is you look at Fidelity.
Yep, Fidelity has their own coin.
Every 401k.
yes. So what is Fidelity doing in this space?
They have a cryptocurrency
division
department.
now. Yeah.
They do.
Division.
Okay.
They're heavily into it.
So again, like I said, if banks are getting ready for this, people like Fidelity, I don't think this is a fad that's going away.
Actually, J.P. Morgan has its own token internally.
So J.P. Morgan has their own token.
Yeah, internally they do. Yeah.
Okay. And what is that trading at?
That's not publicly traded.
It's not.
No,
It's privately.
private. Yeah.
There's Goldman Sachs. They're in it. Okay,
Yep.
everybody's in it.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's some people they'll I'm not going to name names.
No, maybe you
in the
shouldn't,
business on
because,
Wall Street, because they're famous for shorting something. How do
Yeah.
you short something? Give it say something
Yeah,
negative
say something
about
negative
it.
about it.
Exactly, right.
If you're a notable person, people listen to that. Okay, that's when they buy.
So
You know,
so here's the
that's-
thing. I always, as an investor, and I don't care what level you are, you want a couple of things. You want liquidity.
Yes.
Correct.
So if you've changed your mind, you want to be made whole and be able to get out of that position right
Not
away.
just liquidity, you want volume.
Yeah.
And volume, yes. But you have to stomach the volatility.
Yes.
And it's like you said, because it's not regulated, it's like the Wild West right now.
Yeah.
But you like that, Chuck.
Well, I
you
have
love the volatility.
I love the volatility, but in a very calculated way. I vet it out.
Okay.
Typically,
Would you do like a? Would you have a stop loss mentality in some of these, or would you kind of do it more like, well, I'm going to invest in this for the next year or two,
Well, it's
because
different.
I
It's
know.
different with this. It's
Well, that's
different
why
with
I'm
this.
asking.
Yeah, crypto.
I have a
Because I
stop
know.
loss mentality when I come into the game, but a smart investor knows when to pick up his toys and go home. Sometimes
You know,
can't win them all.
I'm gonna use some cryptocurrency terminology.
Sure.
I don't trade stocks, so I don't know if they use the same things. But in crypto, if you just buy a token, you just sell it, whatever. It's called paper handling, right? But traditionally, diamond handling are holding your token for a long period of time. Those individuals traditionally make more in terms of gains than anybody else.
Well, that's why I was
So-
asking Chuck.
yeah.
You know, for a lot of traders, the disciplined ones, they have a stop loss mentality. Hey, my position, if I'm down 10, 20, or 30, whatever your threshold is, I'm going to cut bait and I'm done.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me like, because this is so volatile,
Yes.
it's hard. You can't do that with this.
Well, even
it's
in
not
this,
like
even in this space, if you're purely a trader, you have that mentality.
But how can you listen? It's not like the New York Stock Exchange where
It's not.
they're going to, you can put in an order and it's honored. This sways so much.
Yeah.
We're investors
And here,
Well, that's why I'm saying
and developers.
trading this is kind of, if you can be down 50 to 100%
in a day.
in a day.
Yeah.
That's like, whoa, you're sliding down the mountain.
Yeah.
And there is
I'm down 40% right now.
You
as,
are.
as we speak.
and you're not going to commit Harry Carey or
in 2
anything.
weeks. No. Matter of fact, I think I'm sitting on a rocket ship that's being loaded with liquid nitrogen.
Yeah,
I'm
believe
going
that
to
too.
bet, Chuck, that people are making money as it's going down.
Of
Can you
course.
short cryptocurrencies as
Absolutely,
well?
yes, you
Well,
can.
there you go.
Yeah.
You see, there's my point exactly. That's why my biggest concern is that there are market makers out there. They are manipulating the prices, and they are making money when it crashes.
May I ask,
Yes.
does that happen in the ETFs on Wall Street?
Yes, of
Yes, it
course.
is.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Of course, there are no saints here, folks. No,
Right. And these aren't just
Everyone
these
has
aren't
mud
just-
on their face.
we're all three Christians, and I know this.
Yes.
We believe in God. We're men of faith. But the thing is, those sways aren't as drastic as these, Chuck. I
Yes.
mean,
because
you
it's a developed space.
I guess that's what I'm saying. So for those who are getting into this space, they better be ready that
There's something else.
it could happen. Now here's the other fear
Yeah.
that it goes to zero.
Okay.
That is the fear.
It is a fear.
I can take some downside. but
I've never personally invested in any cryptocurrency.
So have there been
that's
any
zero.
coins that have gone to zero?
Oh,
and
plenty.
people, so
Plenty.
it can happen.
Yeah, within the last couple of weeks, at least 3 or 4. You know, and
have they come back?
No, because they're rug pulls. They're rug pulls. They were scams, if you will, and that's why you have to be very
That's
careful.
why
And
people
when
are
you're
concerned about it.
investing in crypto.
I mean, so I know real estate investors, and they start feeling like they did back in the telecom bubble. Remember that?
Yes, I do
And
actually.
you say, well, wait a minute. Let's talk about the use case of this telecom back in 2000, okay? And they're saying, well, the use case for me is there's somebody going to pay more than I bought it for. Okay?
Well, here's the thing.
So that's when you get hurt.
Right. Like the penny stocks and those stocks that were trading for a few dollars a share. There were people in our history of investing that were absolutely ripped off.
Yeah.
They put in their money, it went to zero, they lost it all. And that's my biggest fear, like you just said. It could happen in
Not
in
enough
crypto.
CEOs went to
Yes.
jail during these periods of time.
Very true. So that's another reason why if you're going to be in this space,
You need to be educated.
you need to be educated and understand that yes, that could happen.
You're on your own when you.
It's
not-
you literally
it's real
could
money.
go to
Yes, it is.
you literally could go to zero,
Yeah.
and they could just close shop and move to
And here's
the
here's,
Cayman Islands.
Here's something. And the Cayman
by the way, you're from the
yeah,
Cayman
I'm
Islands,
from
right?
Caymans, but but here's
No pun intended, of
no,
course.
I know you didn't mean any harm by it, but here's something about crypto market that's interesting as well. It's 24/7.
That is interesting, right? You
Yeah,
could be
it doesn't close. Like
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You're on a bender.
Yeah.
You're like, I think it's a good idea to buy this.
Yeah.
And you wake up at 6 o'clock and it's gone.
Yeah, you know, I've gone to bed with my holdings at a certain level, and I wake up and I realize, hey, it dipped down like
Right.
40-50%, but now it's up 20%.
The problem with that is,
You know?
How do you time
we won't
that?
admit it, but sometimes
You will not
wake
admit
up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Whether you're
Yeah,
up anyway
to check it.
You know, but you know, we'll check it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you can't.
So
deny
look,
it.
this is the ultimate risk reward
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
That's why it's made more
But look
millionaires.
at Tinny. Look at the FANG stocks. Okay, the Facebook, the Amazon.
But they're not as volatile as this. I mean, there was at
They're not
least
now, but there was a time when they did.
they didn't go to zero.
No, they didn't go to
They
zero.
didn't go to
I know
zero.
a lot of people that would
But they
trade
would
them up and down.
Yes, they would go up and down. There were a lot of sways. But man, this stuff here, guys, this is like woo.
But
you could be
But then you got to treat it like you're buying real estate. You need to have your criteria. You need to have
But-
a
You
list of
have to have
criteria.
discipline.
but
Yeah.
who loses all their money on real estate?
Well, I haven't held the bag yet in crypto. So you know what I mean? Like if you have a good
But you see,
you know-
most people, I'm sure, listening to this,
Yeah.
these are the kind of things that they should think
There
about.
were days when REITs did a flip flop and went out of business.
Well, REITs were different, yes. Here's the thing. REITs, like annuities, were structured much differently in the early days than they are now. It's kind of like the old annuities. I would see these contracts and go, did they tell you you're tying up your money for 25 years? No, he just said that this was the greatest thing. Oh, or the person died and all of a sudden the kids come up and go, hey, we want to cash this in. And then they go, sorry, but you need to take a payment for the next 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, the older, it's like life insurance. Back in the days, there was only whole life insurance and it was expensive. So through attrition of development, things have gotten so much better.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is,
And it's the same that's going to happen in this space.
well, I would hope so
Same.
because there's right now what you're describing is there's not much stability in there, but because of that, you can be rewarded incredibly.
If you do your homework,
Yes.
look at the sentiment, okay, more than even sentiment, is just follow it for
Yes.
a while. Okay, get the feeling, and if you do this long enough, the smart people, you don't even have to be sophisticated,
Yeah.
but the smart money, you get to have a feeling for what it is. Now there'll be some surprises, there'll be profit taking. Okay, then you got to take some volatility. Okay, then there's aggregating.
Right.
If you know the cycle, the process.
Yes.
Then you're going to be a whole lot happier. Not only happier, but richer.
Well, look, like I said, folks, I don't have a telephone number to call where people can give you advice because there's nobody in the advice business in this. There's no one. You have to do it on your own. But I wanted you. I think this is very important to discuss it, to have a no holds barred, transparent conversation on it, because yes. There have been more millionaires in this space in the last 3 to 4 years than I've seen in anything. I know that the .coms created plenty of millionaires as well. But this is like when you see people put a few thousand and all of a sudden
100,000.
they're living
Denny,
in yachts.
That's not how it is all the time in this space. I don't go into an investment in this space thinking, oh, it's going to be worth 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. No, I'm trying to just do good, honestly.
Right, okay.
Okay, and I believe I've done the work we just discussed. I did that. I did my homework. I'm doing the best I can. I'll start out a little gingerly, a little less money, and then, wow, I'm doing well. Okay.
Or I'm down 40%. I just took a nap.
But again, I'm following the news. I'm following the news.
But
So the news really, the news affects us as well.
Yeah,
whether
it does.
It's positive or negative.
It does, and you have to really follow the social sentiment behind each of these assets that you're looking to invest in. And let me say this: we've been talking a lot about what's known as altcoins, right? These are the new ones that people don't really know much of.
They don't.
But
Higher risk group.
Yeah, but when you talk about the likes of, and I'm going to name 3 of them that's really up there. You talk about Bitcoin, you talk about Ethereum, and then the lesser is like altcoin. These are what's known as stable coins, right? So they're on their own network like Cardano and stuff like this. And you can buy their tokens and their fluctuations is great as well. But if you're worried about rug pulls and just losing your money,
Yes.
you don't have to worry about with those that I just mentioned, But when you're now going off the reservation, the beaten trail, and you're looking for the new entries into the
How
marketplace.
to get rich quick.
Type shit.
That comes with
That's
strings
where a
attached.
lot of people now get rug pulled and lose all their investment in these
Rug
things.
pull. I love that term. That's exactly right.
That's actually a term
Hi,
they
Jim.
use.
You know that money you just gave us? We're going to pull the rug off of you.
Exactly.
Thanks for playing.
Exactly.
Now, if you want to find us, we're going to be at the Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
get out of the
that's where
Cayman
we're
Islands here
Yeah.
with all of our money. But yeah, that's exactly what people. How do you know? Well, if it's trading at 0.000004, it's in that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much riskier, and then your due diligence list has to be much greater.
Would
to
you
make sure
say
you're
there's a
fine.
certain price point that maybe some of the coins are less risky? Like if it's trading above $10 or
No,
No,
not
no.
at all.
it could be just as
it
could be
just as-
selling for
Some-
2,000
one
a
of the most-
coin.
Correct.
One of the most valuable coins, or more than one of the most valuable coins, could be in that 0.6 or 7 zeros
Yeah.
before you get to a whole number.
Yeah.
Okay, that because it has again a use case. Okay, it's a utility.
What do you mean by
It's
use
value
case and
added.
utility?
What is its utility? Where does it add value? Why is it a coin? Why
is it?
Yeah,
Can
why
I
is it?
can I add a little bit to that?
Yeah.
You see, the thing is this, right? When crypto first started out, it was just a bunch of techies getting into it. And I'm a software engineer by trade, right? So they just get into it, just build it like this is
So
cool.
a bunch of techies came up with Bitcoin
course.
or
yeah,
cryptocurrency.
absolutely. They came up with the blockchain.
Okay.
Now, what happens is they're not necessarily, and I'm not saying this to their detriment, but they're not necessarily businessmen and businesswomen. Okay, what happened is over time, businessmen start to understand what the blockchain is, what's capability is, and they start applying it to healthcare, to real estate, and all this stuff. So that's the utility, that's the use case of saying, hey, this token actually, because it's unique, it represents now this physical property here. So instead of doing deeds, now we're doing deeds on the blockchain. So it's a lot more safe, a lot more secure. Ownership is a lot more just firm in there. You can't obfuscate those things.
So in other words, the coin may be represented by real estate holdings?
Yes, it can. There's
can.
coins
Okay.
out there that do that.
Or by contracts with governments.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what-
Okay.
well, that's
Or
what I'm
by-
saying.
Or by,
That-
by patents.
That's what I was trying to ask you before. Like, I don't even know their business model.
Yes.
So, for example, if there's a coin that has a bunch of government hospitals or
Absolutely.
things like that, I can say, oh, well, I like that business or sector, or I think it's going to do well going forward.
Yes.
Because right now, people are, rightly so, they're scared about our economy, about our monetary policies, about the value of the dollar going forward, whether or not we're going to have growth, whether or not there's a potential recession. There are a lot of factors that people should be concerned about.
People are very nervous.
Even though many chartered financial analysts by trade still see single to double digit returns in the equity markets. But my point also is there could also be a reckoning, and then people will be running to put their dollars not underneath a pillow, although it may make sense if things are really spiraling out of control.
Own some chickens and know how to grow vegetables, because that's the level some people are talking.
Well, because the price of goods it's getting out of control.
It is. But let me say this. First of all, it's always good to have some means to sustain yourself, right? Outside
like
just
chickens.
dollars. Yeah, chicken and eggs, really good. Everybody loves those
They lay
things.
eggs too.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but here's the thing. but here's the thing that's important, right? Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. People use it for that all the time, right? So when like I talk to people all the time, and their absolute dream, what they go to bed and try to physically force themselves to dream about, is the economy crashing, because they know their holdings are going to skyrocket.
Yeah, they're hoping.
Yeah.
I think most cryptocurrency people are hoping for the economy to crash, right? Because as it does, it'll make that more desirable.
Yes.
Because it's a non-correlated asset.
Yes.
Correct. But interestingly, all the fiats around the whole world with this COVID stimulus money printing going off the chain.
Describe fiats for those listening who think it's a car that you buy in Europe.
No, fiat currency, which is hard currency, hard sovereign currency.
Yes.
Okay. It has been massively devalued. Ours is the leader in the world of safety.
Yep.
Even with, I'm going to call it up to 10% or more, because of the things left out, we're not in centralized structures. I'm not going to name names. Okay. But when you have centralized structures,
please don't. Yes.
Yeah, I don't want my phone tapped. But there's a lot of manipulation that goes on. You think there is in cryptocurrency? No.
Yeah.
There's more in centralized structures every single day. And I hate to say it, they're not your friend.
Well, yeah, I know you're not a big fan of centralized banks, and that's kind of what started this whole cryptocurrency thing. They wanted to cut out the middle person, like you said.
Absolutely.
And Delroy and Chuck, that looks like the now and the future.
Yes, it is.
But that's why it is so volatile, because it is like the Old West.
It's brand new.
It's still in its infancy in many ways.
I mean, if you think about back in the day, right, when I had a chicken I had chicken, you had eggs, and you had a cow, right?
Yeah.
But I need a basket. But you got a cow. We can't trade, right? Because we don't have that value. So now the Chinese invented the currency, fiat. And they brought that in. Now we can actually do what we do. Now we move forward. We have something better, right? Because before that, they introduced the banks, which actually held the value for us and gave us these paper, whatever, to trade around. So now this is the evolution of that. This is the evolution of the financial system. And the U.S. government has finally embraced it. And for a while, cryptocurrency was even more volatile because they didn't know what the U.S. would do, right? But now that the U.S. is coming out and they're essentially saying, hey, the cat's out the bag. We're not going to put it in. We're not going to try to put it in. What we're going to do is regulate it the best as we can.
Delroy, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Would you say that the U.S. dollar is a cryptocurrency?
Oh man, listen, that's a great question, right? Because there is a cryptocurrency.
Let me answer that. No, it is not a cryptocurrency.
It's backed by the good faith.
But hold on.
These people printing money. Is that what? Tell me.
But hold on. There's
easy.
There's a cryptocurrency. I'm not advertising for them, right? But there's a cryptocurrency out there called Tether. Right?
Okay.
And it's tethered to the U.S. dollar. Its value is linked to the U.S. dollar.
It is, okay.
Yeah,
And what is that trading at?
Dollar.
$1?
U.S. dollar. Consistently.
Well, there you go.
So if you have a dollar, you go full circle around, you got a dollar. Or maybe less depending on
but here's the thing. I don't think the dollar is worth $1 now because of inflation. Correct. I think it's worth a heck of a lot less.
Yogi Berra said, He said the future ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, but look how
I
that
think
helps.
Yogi invented cryptocurrency just back in the 40s. We didn't know about it until now.
But if you think the U.S. dollar is going to tank in terms of inflation, right?
Well,
you take $1,000
yes.
and you buy Tether, right? And then you now take that Tether and you trade it for Bitcoin. If you're right, you just made out.
Right.
You know. So
Well, the other thing is, I'm assuming it's non-correlated, but you said that bad news can affect cryptocurrency
Yes, it
as
can.
well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, bad news affects the stock market. Bad news affects investor sentiment. That's why I can only limit myself to how much news I watch because I try and stay positive for my clients. And there's nothing that I can do. I don't have time to protest with signs or point my finger at people because they don't eat the same food that I do or sing the same songs or all that stuff that people, who watch 8 hours of TV every day do. I can't do that. I can't. I'm dedicated to my business, my clients. I'm a speaker, and so we'll see where it goes forward, and it'll be real interesting. I think what we should do is have a series of this where we talk about where we are, from now until then. I don't think we should tell people specific ones to buy, but you did mention a few things that kind of make sense. And so, predictions. Think Bitcoin goes to 100,000, Chuck? More. What do you think?
I think within the next 6 months, Bitcoin will be at like 74,000.
And it said like 46,000, right?
Name a timeline.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just really curious.
Yeah.
I'm going to predict it. I don't know what I'm talking about with cryptocurrencies, ladies and gentlemen. What about Ethereum? Kind of was hit a little bit, wasn't it?
It was hit a little bit. It's a great platform, but it's old technology.
It is old
And
technology.
there's newer players with better technology.
Okay.
But Ethereum has carried the Bitcoin when it needed it.
Sure.
In certain times, and otherwise, and then sometimes Bitcoin carried Ethereum.
Yeah, Ethereum is going through. They will be going through a major upgrade here soon, which will lower the amount of fees it takes to actually make a transaction with their platform. That's going to make that token, in my opinion.
Now,
Proof of stake.
Yeah, I know we weren't going to just for entertainment reasons, folks. You did mention that you think Shiba is a potential play going forward in the cryptocurrency market.
Yes, and Saitama.
Yes. So these are ones that are trading at around what? Are they the .00 fractions of a penny?
Yeah, right now I think Saitama is 7 zeros and a 4.
So listen, if these things are at like 10 cents in the next month, I think people are going to want to know where you live.
Say we don't live anywhere. We live on a big boat.
You live on a boat, right? Exactly. But folks, all kidding aside, I hope you got something out of this. At least please be careful. I mean, I'm conservative by nature, and I certainly my website is Artache Financial Group. I have a YouTube channel where I'll be posting these podcasts. I only have a few radio shows left, and the reason I want to do the podcast is because I can interview people at different times. You guys were not going to meet me in Stewart at 9 o'clock in the morning. But with the green room, now that it's finished, I can do this. So I want to interview different people. Know I manage money for a living. I'm a financial planner. I do music. I'm a speaker.
Very good at all those things, Denny.
And
I can say that for sure.
The whole point of the podcast, I want to interview different walks of life to educate, entertain people. And I'm on LinkedIn. I have a Facebook page, Artache Financial Group. If you ever want to contact us, the number is 561-537-5897. The number again, 561. I'm a terrible promoter. 561-537-5897. That's the office line for Artache Financial Group. But you really should do your own homework.
Yes, absolutely.
Do your own homework with this cryptocurrency. But I'm so glad that you were able to share this because I've learned a lot just from listening to you. And I think that's what people want to know. They want to know where can they get started. So
what
again,
I used to do, Denny, I spent a lot of money either going to or attending digitally. For an example, the Cryptocurrency Hedge Fund Summit. And you're hearing guys
that actually exists.
Oh yes. And
so what do they get out of it? They're not making money.
You're hearing
from
crossovers. Guys from Wall Street, from J.P. Morgan,
Really?
from different walks of regulation. They're
Okay.
all in it. They're all there, and it's deep. It's
And they're freely just giving
just
out the
giving
information.
this out, saying, "Listen, here's where this space is going." These guys found it so interesting and so compelling that they're jumping over from some of the biggest brokerage houses on the planet over to crypto.
Yep.
Okay, think of this: 2 words: adoption, adoption, and then. And then from that point on,
Well,
just more adoption.
like I've said, it's not going away.
Yep.
Banks are in the business now. Major players are in the business.
Absolutely.
People have become millionaires.
Yes.
And people are also interested in somehow either hedging their monies or looking for non-correlated ways to invest. I'm not quite sure how much further the real estate market's going to go and the equities market because we have an inflationary world that we're living in.
Fluctuations.
Absolutely. You know, we have inflation that's rearing its ugly head, and we don't know, here's the other thing, too. It's not just America. This is a global thing.
Yes, it is.
And so that is another reason that I thought, well, this is not going away because there's people from all walks of life buying and selling cryptocurrencies.
You know, you just said something there that reminded me of something. You know, we talk about the unbanked a lot. People who don't have bank accounts, who are not part of the banking system.
That's correct.
You know, and a lot of these people are in the third world countries, right? But cryptocurrencies have done something very unique for those communities where they're skipping the centralized banking model, going directly to crypto.
All they need is a cell phone.
Yeah.
Now,
All they need is
here's
cell
what's
phone,
so
correct.
funny.
Yeah.
Prior to, I think this is the first year, you didn't have to claim this on your tax returns. But
Yes.
now they want to know if you have an
question's right
account.
there.
The question's right there. Do you have an account? Have you made any money in it? So
And if you have, you better be paying the taxes.
Yeah,
That's pretty-
definitely pay your taxes.
No playing
Yep.
games, no fun.
Right,
business.
absolutely. So this is another reason when you have the banks facilitating, becoming custodians, and now the IRS wants to get, that's another, that adds more credibility that this is not just going to come and go.
Yep.
Now, if I'm wrong and it does go, hopefully you guys will sell out before that happens.
Absolutely. But we don't think that have Big Brother getting his share. He'll make sure it stays around.
But what's wrong with that? I think regulation is the best thing that's ever going to happen to this
Well,
space.
because it'll make it less volatile,
Yes.
right?
And what's so wrong with paying taxes if you're making money?
Yeah.
Okay?
I agree, yes.
Be right with it.
Yeah.
Now,
know?
I pay taxes, not that I have a choice, because
But only your fair share, right?
only my fair share. Correct. Yes. I don't. If I'm going to donate, it's to St. Jude Hospital or something like that.
Yes.
A cause that is dear to me. But yes, every dollar means something to me. You know,
well it should.
the reason I appreciate this, guys, because I really am a conservative by nature person.
I think we all
when
are
it comes to
Yeah,
finance.
absolutely.
I live well beneath my means. I don't have any. The only debt I have is the home I purchased 3 years ago. Was it 3 or 4? 4 years
Beautiful
ago.
home, by the way. Yeah.
But other than that, cars paid for, credit cards,
Absolutely.
everything at zero. I like living when COVID hit, and it was terrible for everyone.
Yes.
I had reserves
Yes.
for I don't know a year and a half or 2.
Simple life. Take it easy.
Well, I was sweating, but because this whole pandemic, my God, will there be a time when we say, "Hey, remember when COVID was around and it's not anymore?" I want to celebrate like it's 1999 when that happens for all of us.
Yes.
So anyway, I really appreciate it, Delroy Bryan, Chuck Johnson.
Pleasure.
If you buy this and lose money, you cannot sue them. They are not licensed to sell you
Not
this.
us.
We're all conservative here, folks.
No.
And I will say this, that anytime little decisions are big decisions, and big decisions are little decisions,
Yes.
we have to do our homework, do the work. There's nothing wrong with that because it'll be yours, you own it. Okay, to keep that knowledge, that body of work.
And all kidding aside, I really appreciate that. Again, part of the podcast is I want people like yourselves that have an expertise in the field of something that people are interested in, and cryptocurrencies is no exception. Any parting shots, Mr. Brown?
Not really. Just be careful when you buy out there. Make sure you do your homework. Due diligence is key when it comes to this space.
My comment is the adoption and the future of money, and that's very important to know.
Yep.
I believe.
Well, everything's in God's hands, and we all know that. So thanks for listening and tuning in. I hope you got some valuable information here on the Artache Financial Group podcast. I'm not sure who I'm going to have next week, but I will let you all know. So thanks a lot, and everyone, make it a great day. Be happy to be alive and healthy if that is indeed the case. Thank you.